Paris, France just had a huge power outage after the opening ceremony of the Olympics where they openly mocked God. Was all of this a coincidence with the power outage, or was the very hand of God behind this? Welcome back to the Gospel of Tommy. Let's look into this.
Some call it swift justice. Right after we saw one of the most demonic open ceremonies for the Olympics of all time, with the mocking of the Last Supper with the transgenders at the catwalk, and the clear symbology of the Antichrist riding the white horse. Well, not even 24 hours after those events, what do we see happening in Paris, France? Reports of power outages hit Paris amid 2024 Olympic Games. Articles as well as personal videos are coming out of power outages sweeping across Paris. Some people will say this is just a coincidence, but I refer back to Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap.
Just to bring you up to speed before I show you the power outage, check this out, okay? These are just some quick clips of the opening ceremony at the Olympics. One of the first things we could see. Okay, and by the way, they're saying all of this is just a coincidence. Let me show you some of these imagery, and you let me know if you think this is a coincidence or not, okay? Look at this, the golden calf. This comes from the story of Exodus when Moses goes up to receive the 10 commandments from God. He's gone for 40 days. The people are demanding Aaron. They're asking him, create us a God. We don't know what happened to Moses. He might be gone forever. So Aaron makes them a golden calf to worship in replacement of the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is after God did many miracles for them, like parting of the Red Sea. You could see on the stage there is a golden calf. Okay, this is why. Why is there a golden calf on stage? And here's some imagery referring to the Old Testament. We had this pale rider or riding a pale horse, and he had the nations behind him, okay, referring to the Antichrist. Then we have the Lord's Supper, and you could see right here in the middle behind this blue guy. I don't know. Remember that song? Like, I'm blue, ba-da-dee-da-da-da. You remember that? I don't know. I'm making jokes of this because it's so ridiculous, but we're going to look at the fun stuff in a second of why I think God caused this power outage. But you got to get up. You got to see some of this stuff first. Right here behind, there's this lady and trans people having this crown, this halo. They only did that back in the day to refer to holy figures, religious figures, and this is a straight up knockoff of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper painting. There was even a man over here in the corner, and this is sick, okay, and he had his genitals exposed, and he was by a little boy, and he literally had his testicle out. You can't make this stuff up. And by the way, this was on TV, okay? They're not just going after Christians, they're going after people's sexuality. They're going after little children as well. This is how dark the times are. And Moses came down and he was mad. This is a cartoon, but then he destroyed the tablets. He had to go back up after this. But look at this, okay? Now let me show you what actually happened. So Paris, they were hit with a city-wide power outage. You think this is a coincidence? After all that mocking of Jesus Christ and the Christian faith, do you really think it's a coincidence? If you do, stay to the end of this video. And by the way, like and subscribe if you love God and want to get the gospel out. The world's a dark place, and you just clicking subscribe can make a difference, okay? That's all you have to do. So here you go. Take a look at this. The funny thing is with this power outage, okay, the city was lights out, but Sacré-Cœur Church. And by the way, my family and I, we went 2 years ago, 2.5 now, on a missions trip with Youth with a Mission, my kids and everything. Sacré-Cœur Church is up on a hill in Paris, so the whole city could see it. So it's sort of ironic that this church was up on a hill and that it was actually lit while the rest of the city is in darkness. Coincidence? And let me show you, okay, what happened to Brazil, because this was actually like in the last year, and I'm going to play you this clip.
In Brazil on February 2023. I had to confirm the dates, so I do not bring out falsified information.
This is real, by the way.
You see in this video, They are found glorifying the devil out in the public. Woe to those who call evil good, and good evil.
This was in Brazil during their carnival. They were mocking Jesus Christ. And wait till you see what happens to that city.
Who put darkness for light, and light for darkness. Portraying a man in a similitude of our Lord, as he gets dragged by the devil. This is just too much.
What? They had massive flooding throughout the country right after the carnival, literally the next day, just like Paris with the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Coincidence or the hand of God? Love this verse. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. The one who sows to please his sinful nature, from that nature will reap destruction. Okay, that's what we're seeing in countries like America, in Europe. People are sowing, they're doing actions to their sinful nature. The Bible has this principle of reaping and sowing, and it's a beautiful principle, okay? What a man sows, he reaps. For example, you put some seeds in the ground, apple seeds, then you get an apple tree. God actually says that he knows you and he knows me. You could know people by their fruit, okay? And you can know if someone's a follower of Christ by their actions, okay? You should start to look like Jesus when you follow him, okay? So you could see the world with the way they're passing laws, with the things they're praising, like, for example, the whole LGBT movement. Okay, why is a percentage of the population LGBT, like a few percent, okay, if even that? And that's what they're praising. That's what they're putting on stage for the world. That's what they're feeding us, okay? Okay, because when people sow to their flesh, they reap destruction. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Paris went lights out right after the mockery, the display of the Lord's Supper, which transgender, the little kid. It's sick. It's evil. It's evil times we're living in, but you should be encouraged because we have the truth. And that's why the enemy is working so hard right now to go against us. So it makes me so excited because I'm like, oh man, this is happening. This is going down. The devil is trying. But guess what? Just to let you know, we saw in this clip here, Jesus being dragged by the devil. God is an uncreated being. He exists outside of space and time. He's the Alpha and Omega. He's always existed and always will exist. The devil is a fallen angel, a created being, okay? The devil decided that he wanted to be like God, and he deceived a third of all the angels and was thrown down to earth. So for now, the devil is roaming and reigning on the earth, and this is his little kingdom. But ultimately, God's still in charge, and the devil's going to fall right into God's plan when we see the Antichrist come. Jesus is going to come back. We're going to be raptured, and Jesus is coming back on a horse, and a white horse, meaning war, and he's going to come back and, kick Satan's butt. Let's just say that. That sounds so PG, but I don't curse because, that's what the world does, and the Bible tells us not to, and that's a whole different thing.